Foreplay presented by Barstool Sports. We got the whole crew. It is myself. We got Trent, Frankie, and Lurch. The promotional stuff that you see will be produced by our very good friend Jake Bass. A lot of the longer form videos that you see are done and edited by our very good friend Brendan Jones. So big thanks, a big shout out to those guys. We're also joined on this show by Armen Keteyian. He is a little different type of guest. He's great. He's very smart. He's a journalist. He has done several now, I guess, made for TVs, documentaries, video storytelling as well. The reason we have him on is, of course, the Tiger Woods documentary that aired on HBO, the two-parter, which we talked about a lot on Tuesday's show. He co-authored the book Tiger Woods, which gets referenced quite often on this show, which the documentary was based off of, and he was also an executive producer for the documentary. So we get into a lot of Tiger Woods, the story, the whole ordeal with Armen Keteyian. That's coming up in 30 minutes or so. It actually, at one point, he says that he was very pissed off at me for my tweets about not watching the documentary and telling other people not to watch it. Lurch looks like he's gonna die. I mean, I don't know how. I have to state that you're sitting there with your head in your hands.
I mean, I'm battling. I mean, it's 8:53 Eastern right now, and I don't know if I've ever had a worse headache in my life than what I've experienced for the last, I would say, 53 minutes. Where headaches, migraines, I've never experienced them, but I have a full blown headache. I mean, I feel this is maybe the worst I've ever felt, and I sound good. I feel like I'm on the tail end of COVID. I'm going to kick this thing, but the headaches that are setting in are debilitating. I can't look at the screen. I have to close my eyes. I have to look elsewhere. I mean, you know me for, 15 years. I don't get it's not something, but right now I am in excruciating pain. Where have you ever seen that dumb clip where the couple are talking? It's the guy and the girl, and the guy's like, I think there's just a nail in your head, and then she's like, no, you don't understand. It feels like there's a nail getting just hammered into the front of my skull right now, and it's awful. So hey, let's have a Wednesday night, Thursday morning, whenever you listen.
I'm sorry. I'm very sorry that you're suffering through that. Look, it's no joke that, the three of us here battling through, it hits everyone differently. I feel mostly fine. I have a little bit of a lingering cough that's not in any way, it doesn't feel unhealthy. It's just a little bit annoying occasionally. Trent, I think, feels mostly fine. Lurch, again, came and looked at the fucking screen. So if you need to depart, feel free, because we don't want to.
I will at some point. I mean, I'm okay. I'm really okay. It's just a little pain.
All right, that's good. All right, like I said, we have about 45 minutes with Armen Keteyian, and it's good. It's very, very good. He's been immersed for 3+ years in the Tiger Woods story, reading transcripts, watching, going to tournaments, reading books on things that were involved in Tiger Woods' life, watching footage from tournaments. He's just as immersed in the Tiger Woods life as you can possibly be. So
got a little heated. I don't know if heated's the right word. It got a little
contentious. Oh boy, Trent's got internet issues.
My internet is terrible. My internet could not be worse.
Trent got the corona out of his,
give it a look.
He got the corona out of his body and gave it to his internet. Is that fucking hamster working? Oh yeah, you can't respond to me, corn boy.
You're such a frozen boy.
Make fun of him.
Hey, corn boy, why don't you answer us and fucking learn how to fucking buy some internet? Well, there he is. You heard that.
Did you hear that, Trent?
I heard corn boy.
You're a mess, dude. How was the Armen Keteyian interview? Because I wasn't on it. I was doing pizza reviews and stuff.
Awesome. That guy's incredible. Do
we blame him for anything?
Transparent.
Do we blame him for anything that happened on the HBO special?
No. Okay. No, not at all. There were some tidbits where we said we wish it would have been this or that, but ultimately, and this is, I sort of said this early on, which is that I think a lot of the things that we would have had negative complaints about were things that he also would have been fighting against. Wanted it to be longer, wanted it to include more things. So we kind of agreed on that front. He did say that he literally said he was pissed off at me because I was tweeting about basically boycotting the HBO documentary. He was glad that we came around and decided to watch it. So that was the only real like contentious part. But overall, it was great. I mean, I feel like we're all on a pretty similar wavelength with that guy when it comes to Tiger and the story. Like he's enthralled by it. We're enthralled by it. So overall, it was good. It was a very good interview. He was, he's insightful. He's an intellectual. We're kind of idiots. So having that with us, it was good.
Yeah, I thought it was great. I mean, I look up again and there's Trent's gone, so his internet's terrible. But yeah, I mean, I think he's an awesome guy. I think he's super impressive. He's obviously very, very smart. But then just the way he explains things, and he's kind of lives his comments by the seat of his pants a little bit. Like he's very excitable. He's got a partner that's, much more even keeled than him, that brings him back to earth for the storytelling purposes. But he was a joy to talk to. So next time we get him on, Frankie, you got to be on for that, because I think you'd love to hear him talk as well.
For sure.
Yeah,
I liked him the first time we had him. He was super interesting.
He is. So folks are going to enjoy it. So stick around. That's coming up, like I said, 20 or 30 minutes. Big thanks to Owens Mixers. Seeing a lot of people. Reminder, Transfusion Thursday. Pour that little transfusion mixer from Owens right in there with a little vodka, a little ice. Tweet us a picture, hashtag Transfusion Thursday. Show us you're supporting. Show us you're having a good time. Show us you're deciding to get after it a little bit with the transfusion. It's perfect for the golf course, perfect for if you're watching golf, you're watching football, if you're eating dinner, if you're eating a late afternoon, whatever the hell you're doing, the transfusion is going to be really good for it. The beauty of Owens is that it's not like it's just one drink. You can make a Paloma, get their grapefruit and lime from Owens, put that in there with a little tequila. That's one of Lurch's favorite drinks, so that's probably going to make him throw up right now based on what I'm seeing. You can do the mint cucumber and lime with a little vodka. That's a delicious drink. You make some mules, Moscow mules, vodka mules, whatever you want. OwensMixers.com. They have a huge price drop. Go check them out on Amazon. Look for Owens, look for the transfusion. I'm seeing them in different stores now. People are tweeting, they're on the shelves. They're with a bunch of other stuff. So it's great. Owens is starting to get out there more and more. We appreciate them supporting us. We appreciate being able to whip up awesome cocktails super simply, quickly, easy, efficiently. So big thanks to Owens. Love you guys. Okay. We got a few headlines to run through. First, a little programming reminder that our video from TaylorMade's The Kingdom, where we all got fitted, is out. It's on our YouTube page. It's got like 100,000 views already. People love equipment. They're ate up with that shit. They're ate up with, watching the process of someone, in this case, 4 people getting fit, shaft changes, swing tweaks, coaching, putting lab, all of it's in there. It's a really cool, really interesting, a little bit of a geeking out type thing, golf geeking out, a little nerding out. So get involved in that. Go watch that video.
The only thing we forgot or didn't forget, but the only thing we didn't include is what we got fit with, which threw people for a loop a little bit. So we're gonna have to do a what's in the bag.
For sure.
Yeah, that was a mistake.
No
one
one
should have included.
It's true.
Dude, I was watching. I'm like, what? Do we have a part in this video where we show what we got fitted with? And then I was told no. And I was like, okay, we're gonna have to do another video then, because
it was a 25-minute teaser for our upcoming what's in the bag.
Yeah. I mean, it's still super interesting. Like it's more of like a kingdom porn, not really. It was a fitting, but like more lessons, takeaways. Well, no one knows what we got fitted with. They have no clue what driver I have. They have no clue what shaft we got. Everything, lie angle, the whole thing. No clue. Zero information. Trent's gone again. But that'll leave a nice. That opens up a nice little lane for what's in the bag. We just got to get all the specs.
Totally. I think the only thing that I really remember from the video of that was getting fitted in a direction was the piece where Riggs got fitted and he put that, that 10 and 11 care into the club. And I thought that was really cool because you saw actually what goes into dialing someone's clubs in on a real fitting basis. When he was talking about just the simplicity of understanding the divot and seeing where you were taking grass versus not and trying to even that out. I thought that, whatever that was, minute and a half clip, was so interesting how he was kind of beating on it, knocking down to a degree. That was really cool. But yeah, to your point, everybody left there and nobody knows what club. To the same point, I don't really I kind of know what I've got.
Yeah, I don't really know.
100%?
No,
I don't
never
know
got
this.
a confirmation what irons I'm using. He just jotted things down and walked away.
I know at least iron head, but I think I'm KBS, like the shaft, like 120s or I don't know.
He told me my shaft has a little bit of rib in it. I don't know what that means, but
so we'll do what's in the back.
It was
what's in the back.
Like they took over and ran the show, and it didn't matter. Like your brain as the actual swinger of the clubs, like your brain didn't matter. He's like, no. It doesn't matter if you know, like I know, and I'm going to write all the specs down, and then your clubs are just going to appear. So that's why we don't really have any idea. I did, I texted one of our guys a couple days ago, and I was just like, hey, what? Like, I know you're sending me all this stuff, but what are you sending? What did I get? I don't know what I don't even know what I got. I don't know what I got. That will be, we probably should have gotten all that information and then put it into the video. But like you said, it opens a nice lane for us to do what's in the bag, which we will. I did think that the part about like him just tweaking the lie angle on my clubs and that immediately changing the divot from a toe heavy divot pattern to just a perfect, crisp divot pattern was so encompassing of what that fitting and experience actually does for you. Like, yeah, it's cool and it's beautiful and it feels like you're being spoiled, but it's actually functional and it just fucking works when they tweak stuff.
Right. It just makes perfect sense. And that was really cool for me to watch. I will say I'm interested to know, because we haven't really talked about this. Were you guys nervous at all? Like, I was trying to be the best lurch golfer I possibly could on that day because I wanted the fitting to be with my best swing. Do you know what I mean? So like I felt like more pressure on me to, like, I don't know, swing well so that like the clubs were perfect when I was perfect. You know what I mean?
That's happened to me. We've gotten fitted twice. This time was just, the first time this was just such a great experience, but both times I've now played my best golf at those ranges, like ever. Like striping 263 woods off the turf. Like, the guy looked at me, he's like, "You're fine."
That
like,
number was outrageous. When he did the TrackMan and you ripped the 3-wood off the deck, like what it was like 255 carry and like 280 roll.
Yeah,
it's just absurd number.
He at sea level too. We were literally like, we were 10 feet from the ocean.
I knocked over that TrackMan right before when I walked on. I stumbled over it, and I was like, "Oh, that's a $30,000 mistake right there," and whatever it is. And he's like, "No problem. Like, we got 10 of them or whatever." The kingdom's a joke. Like, no expense spared.
It is. It's a different. Obviously, we're spoiled and like that whole access and everything we had, but I was chuckling over like, a 7-iron or whatever, because I was like, oh, I really want to, get to the 770s. It's like, yeah, no problem. I'll order you some. And I was like, what did you just say? Just like over the ball. It's like, are you kidding me? It's like, where are we? Are we just in heaven? This is going to happen. So yeah, the whole thing was, yeah, exactly. It was too much.
We actually should be hitting our worst shots there so that they can fix us. Like you know what I mean? Like, we really don't need as much teaching when we're on our best days. Yes, we still do, but like that's when we're at our best. I'm hitting that 3-wood. There's not much more he's going to tell me to like make that better. But like if he saw me when I'm at fucking Windwatch Golf Club in Ronkonkoma and I'm hitting 3-woods into the fucking driving range from the 10th hole, like that's when it's like, let's have a talk. Like, let's talk about this swing here because you haven't hit a 3-wood correctly in 4 years. But instead, he saw me on my best day yet again.
Like my 7th iron, 6-iron was just a chunk hook. And I was like, hell yeah. Because before that, it was 6 straight, like 6-irons that were 175, 180, which is pretty good yardage for me, like right at the green or right. And it was just like, that's not how I play golf. Like, you're not seeing what's really in here in this person. And then when I took a couple horrible swings that just like half the grass, half ball, it went nowhere, I was like, that's me, man. Now you're seeing it a little bit. So you do you do want yourself to show up. Like, if too good of you shows up, that's not accurate. And if too shitty of you shows up, that's not accurate.
I walk into a fitting pretty comfortable because I know that the guy is going to have a lot to do. Like, I know that he's going to have a few notes. And then I feel comfortable that he's going to feel comfortable doing his job and knowing that he is doing his job. Because like, even, I guess the only thing I get nervous about at those is that like I show up and you guys are all pretty good. I mean, you're all single digit handicaps. And I feel like that's
not what the internet says.
And I think that's what maybe like if they have like a pre-talk about like how good are these guys before they get here. And then they're like, all right, there's a 3 single digit handicaps. And then there's this one guy who just like is terrible. So I'm always nervous that he's not going to be prepared for that. Luckily, my guy Perry was perfect. Like I think they matched us up on purpose because he was all about like instructional with a little bit of fitting. So it worked out very well. That's the only part that I'm nervous about when I go to the fitting like that.
I got a question for you, T Daddy. So like maybe 2 months ago, you said what I really want to do is hit like a 4-iron really well. I think that's golf. But I saw in the fitting, they kind of pulled those away from you. Now it looks like you're hitting like a 4-iron hybrid almost.
So
how do you feel?
I tested out a 4-iron hybrid and a 5-iron hybrid that I really like. That it's, you know, with my irons, they're obviously just starting to come around a little bit. And when I start to get to the 4 to 5 irons, it's really a crapshoot. Like I feel pretty good. 6, 7, 8. Like I feel pretty good about those. But if I get to 4 or 5, it's really not that great. So he was like, let's at least give you a 4 and 5 hybrid iron. And if you want to hit those, hit those. If you're not feeling confident in the 4 and 5, which you probably rarely are going to, hit the 4 or 5. But we're not going to take the 4 and 5 iron out of your bag. Like you have a little bit of both, so you're comfortable. So that's really what I was going for. Like I didn't want the 4 and 5 irons, the P790s, to be taken away because I really think I'm going to work my way into those. Like if I'm going to start playing more and I'm going to be hitting my iron shots more consistently, I want to at least have the option to hit a real 4-iron and a real 5-iron. But also if you got the 4 and 5 hybrid, you're covered in that area too. So it's a little bit of both, best of both worlds.
Yeah, gotcha. I agree with that. Like you want to believe that you're going to progress into something a little bit rather than just this is as good as I'll ever be and I need assistance forever. Like part of you wants to believe.
And that was a big thing that our conversation was centered around. Like he's looking at me and I've got these P790s and he's looking at my swing being like, you're borderline for these P790s. And he said, if you're looking to improve for the next couple of years, I'm going to keep you in the P790s because you're going to grow into these clubs. Because if we go backwards at all, you're going to have these just different irons that are for a player who is content with not being able to break 100, which is fine. But if you are looking to improve and be a better player, we're going to keep you at the P790s so you can grow into this club because you're going to be a better player with these as opposed to taking you back and giving you a more forgiving iron, but it's not going to help you improve in the way that you want to improve.
My guy told me he basically did the same thing with, well, not really the same thing, but the idea of on any given day or when I'm feeling a certain way, I can swap out my 4-iron for a 4 hybrid if I feel like the course calls for it. Because he's giving me a 5-wood and a 3-wood. And he's like, you just need to learn and grow into these woods. Like you can't be afraid of hitting wood. So I'm going to give you 2 options. And like, if you like want to keep the 5-wood in or you want to take the 5-wood out, put the hybrid in with the iron, like there's a lot of interchanging. Not many like average, regular Joe Schmo golfers get the luxury of like picking their bag before the fucking round. So I think that's a little too much for us to be doing. Like I'm like looking at the fucking
concert
slope.
Athletes. We're TaylorMade.
I'm like looking at the slope and the rating, being like, let me say, well, there's a roll off on the second hole, so maybe I'm gonna want a little bit of backspin on the hybrid. It's but it is cool to have those options, and it's something you never really think about. Like depending on what course or depending on your swing at the time, like which clubs you should have in your bag. That's why a fitting is so good. You never even think of that stuff.
Right. Like
I would never even put a 5-wood in my bag ever in a million years. Now I got one.
We were looking at my 4 and 5 irons on the TrackMan, and essentially, like I can hit them okay, but I get no height on them, so it's not going to land and stay on the green, which is what you want if you're going to be hitting a club like that. And with the 4 and 5 hybrid irons, I was getting crazy height on them, similar distance, so it just makes it easier to score. And you know that's what everybody's looking to do. So until I'm super comfortable with my 4 and 5. I can hit the 4 and 5 hybrid irons if I want to.
We can't possibly do this podcast with Lurch getting like his brain eaten by dementors right now. I mean, I can't. It's you're legitimately in so much pain. It's hard for us to sit here and talk about golf, about like just like regular people. Like we're just ignoring you getting tormented.
He's like
they're stuffing his face out. Like,
when he gets like stabbed at the end and he has to still fight Commodus, but he's trying to like stay alive and beat him, but he can't breathe.
Yeah.
That feels like that's you right now. Lars. Like you have
Dude, at one point he was like,
in your fucking lungs, and you're trying to fight Commodus.
He was like, oh my God. He put both hands on his head. He was like, oh my God. Like with his camera muted to the point where like that's like a brain issue. You have a brain issue right now.
Yeah, there is an amazing amount of pain in my forehead right now.
What is a headache? Is it in your brain or is it in the muscles?
Don't know.
Is it like
brain?
But it's
muscle, I think
your brain is a muscle. So there's nothing. Oh, all right. So that was a stupid thing. There's no muscle in between your brain and there's no like muscular tissue in between your brain and the
It's weird because you feel it like
skull?
right in your skull. Like if you feel, I feel this in my skull and like the top of my eyebrow kind of.
It's got to be your frontal lobe just bouncing.
Harry Potter right now.
Like Byung-sung.
You should put a little lightning. You should put a little lightning bolt on your forehead.
I was talking to somebody recently, and I think headaches are my least favorite ailment in terms of like stomach ache, headache, like the sort of like tier 1 where you're in a little bit of pain. Like, what would you prefer? Obviously, you don't want any of them, but like headaches, when I can't concentrate on something, it drives me insane, and I really feel for Lurch in this moment.
You probably enjoy a little tummy ache, Trent. You sit back, you rub your belly with a little bit of fucking lotion, you watch your fucking movies. Tummy ache's a fucking walk in the park for you. You have a tummy ache on a random Tuesday night after eating too many Sour Patch Kids.
Right. Listen, you want to talk about stomach aches? I know how to deal with stomach ache. Like,
headaches feel like an alien has entered your body.
Yes, and it's
trying to get out through your head. It's awful. Sorry to be distracting. I don't mean to be that. I just
we feel bad. I feel terrible.
You and Lurch, you and I have been texting a little bit through this, just like symptoms and what's going on. And I had told you early on that I got really bad headaches, but the reason was because I wasn't having my morning coffee, just because my whole routine was thrown off. And I always have coffee in the morning, and it ended up like I got a coffee and I drank it, and then my headache went right away. So I was just going through caffeine withdrawals.
Yeah, when I did that plant-based diet, I went through those same withdrawals because there was no caffeine, and I remember having those headaches. This headache that I've got, the last 2 days I've got really, really bad headaches.
Yeah,
I guess it's all in the same vein, but I mean, this is awful.
Try banging your head against the wall a couple times.
It's a perfect idea, Frank.
Or hurt something else, like stab your foot.
That was always like my uncle's. Like trying to make like light of the moment, he'll be like, "Slam your thumb in the door," and you worry about your head anymore.
Then you thumb in your head.
That's happened.
Logic's airtight.
Well, Lurch, we're pulling for you. I hope you
appreciate that, gang.
Hope you feel better. I will say that I'm a little bit confused about just like my relationship with the general online public and their comments on our games, because this new Facebook thing that we talked about, that group is so different than any other group of online folks. Are
they nice? Are they fans?
They love us to the point where we go on Instagram, we go on Twitter, it's handicap police. There's no way this guy's better than a 25 handicap. That's all you see. There was a guy on Facebook, on our Facebook group, who commented, like, does anybody else get annoyed when Riggs talks about how bad he is at golf? Because like most people would love to be as good as he is. And it was going the complete other direction to where I had to go. I went in and was like, no, I'm not trying to come off like a dickhead. So there's multiple groups of internet users on Twitter and Instagram that are just ruthless. Everybody's a scratch or better. Everybody's a PGA Tour professional who could fix your game in half a second. And then there's this crew on Facebook that they're just happy-go-lucky out there, kumbaya, like, yeah, nobody can break 100, but Riggs is really good. And it's just the two different worlds are shocking.
We'll say Facebook.
I gotta get in there.
It's an older demographic, so maybe they're just, kids are mean. Kids might be on Twitter, and adults are on Facebook, and they're just kind of nicer people, I guess, and more honest.
That might be what it is, but I scrolled through that little group. You get a little bit of negative for sure, but overall, it's like they love us. They're like, They fucking love what we do. It's amazing.
I wonder if that has anything to do with that their names are attached to it. That's an interesting thought. Like on Twitter, you can be jack off Dick 69 and being like, your swing stinks, bro. But on there, it's you're Tim Johnson, and you gotta, if you say something crazy, you gotta own up to that. It could be something to that.
I did that once. This dude was just ruthlessly messaging me, right? Like just fucking every day talking about like Borelli's. He's gonna go there and fucking like do something bad, like just a crazy person. And it was just his name and where he worked in his bio on Instagram. So I took a screenshot. I'm like, you're just a high school teacher, huh? Like at this place like on Long Island. Like this is crazy. Like you're a high school teacher and like a lacrosse coach. And you're just fucking going nuts on my, like, imagine this high school found out that this is what you do, like just like threatening people legitimately, like almost a crime. And he deleted his Instagram, just wiped it clean, just doesn't have pictures of him and his family anymore. He's like, oh fuck, this just got real. Like I didn't think that, like, I guess like I shouldn't be threatening people. And I just, that's a huge victory for me. That happens all the time. I mean, you know, you talk about shit like, I don't know, it's like I definitely like getting shit on because it's like funny. I love that shit. Like I mean, I post pictures of myself looking obese and it went viral on Twitter. I posted that picture from someone's deleted photo album on their phone. Like I went and got it. I enjoy it. I mean, butter knives has always been a joke, but it's when people cross the line on shit like that. And honestly, to your point, like they just don't understand the handicap system, which I didn't understand the handicap system either. It drives me nuts. I've learned it, and I realized that it's not your average score. It's your best possible, like the best possible round you could have if you played that round that day. That's what you probably would score as your handicap. So don't go coming to me being like, you don't shoot fucking 83s. You don't shoot 83s and 82s. It's impossible. It's like, well, yeah, if I play well, I do because I've done it. I put numbers into this little app and it tells me what my fucking thing is. Whatever. Jake, don't even make that a fucking social clip today because I don't want to deal with those people.
What do you think that guy who you made delete their Instagram tells his wife and his kids? Like, obviously, he's still living like
I got hacked. I got hacked.
Yeah, exactly.
Or like, you know what? I think I'm going to try to spend more time with you guys. I'm not going to get on the internet anymore. I don't like it. I'm not going to be on there anymore.
Dude, I better person.
I messaged him back with like a question mark. I was like, dude, you like, I was like kind of nice. I was like, dude, you work at this school? And like, do you see what you just said? Like you like threatened to burn a restaurant down. Like what is like that's just a felony. You can't.
It is always funny when someone goes crazy over the top on you, and then you click on their Abby, and it's them with like their two kids at the park, like what? Having a great day with the kiddos. It's like, dude, like you don't stop yelling at me. Like you got kids, man. You got bigger things to deal with.
Or the best is you guys suck at golf, and I always respond, thanks, man. And the guy goes, dude, I'm a huge fan. Bro.
Yeah, every time.
Bro, one bite. Like it's like immediately. Fuck yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
I never thought you were going to respond, man. Like huge. If you're ever in fucking Cincinnati, we got to go out to this course. That's what you get every time.
And we do ask for it because we're fucking idiots on the internet. But some people take it too far, which is fine. They do that in all walks of life. So I guess you just got to deal with it.
No, we've all been at it for long enough now where it's like you've seen it all. And it's like, yeah.
I laugh at a lot of it.
I do too.
Right.
Oh,
I mean, you can't take it seriously, dude. It's a bunch of, it's like,
yeah.
Twitter's like people talking in like a high school bathroom and writing on the walls.
Yeah.
It's like nobody, you don't admit to it. You just write like the nurse stinks, and like then it's just gone forever.
That's the thing. Like we live on Twitter, and then we just like because like we just like post stuff, and then we just put the phone down, and then we're just like in real life, like in our kitchen with like family and stuff, and you're just like, oh, like it doesn't matter what that dude just said. Who's that? What is that? It's just that's
what that guy's doing when he's trying to burn down Borelli's on Twitter.
Yeah, true.
He's fucking cooking pasta.
And honestly, it amazes me. Like the other night, I picked up my phone and somebody just said like at Barstool Lurch sucks at golf or something like that. And it just completely out of the blue, like there was nothing, no promo going on or like we weren't doing anything. It was just something. And I was like, I think I just responded like bored typing or like, what are you like? What are we doing here?
I picture that guy walking through the produce aisle at the grocery store, and he's thinking, you know what I've been thinking about a lot. Lurch sucks at golf. I'm gonna let him know real quick
Right.
before I check out.
Totally fine to say that, like, we're putting a video up. I mean, it's fine really anytime, but like it makes sense if we're putting a video up or doing something that like promotes that. But just out of the blue, just like, hey dude, you suck at golf. It's like, all right, well, I mean, hey, there's Twitter, #Twitter.
Well, there's a huge disparity between our fans and the people that just like live on Twitter and want to make people upset and angry. Because we have the best fans by far. Like Barstool has. I have something in my mouth right now. I got caught doing this. This is crazy.
Yeah, what do you have?
I had like a little Tylenol thing. And I'm sucking on them like, let me just drink this water. I'm sucking on them like,
can you swallow the pills?
Yeah, can you just get rid of it?
Boy?
I can't dry swallow pills. I think that's fucking crazy. I think if you can dry swallow pills, you got something wrong with you.
No, I can't dry swallow them either.
I can dry swallow.
Dude, that's just painful. It's like,
yeah, but you're like a blue whale.
you
can just anything disappears in there.
Dude, think about what you're doing. You're literally sucking down like a hard fucking pill.
Rick just called me a blue whale. I'm just now picturing myself. See, like what you picture me just swim across the ocean and just there's 1,000 fish and I just
and they don't even swallow. You just open your mouth and they end up in your esophagus.
What that is.
I don't even know.
I think, Frankie, I think you were saying our fans. I think even the guy that said Barstool Lutch sucks at golf, like to some extent, he's some sort of fan, and I say thank you. Like I think all those people are great.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's very interesting, like just the differences in platform and how different people act on there. But Facebook, if you're ever looking for a little confidence booster, go to our Facebook group. And they're just really generally nice about us, which is great. So,
dude, you want to talk about fans for a second, real quick? No one realizes. I'm sure people realize at this point because he's fucking megastar. But Dave Portnoy is so fucking popular that we went to a hotel that I don't know that really. I mean, I'm sure people knew we were going to it, but like I don't know how they knew the entrance we were going in. We walked into this hotel, and 30 to like 40 people were waiting in there with stuff printed out. I'm talking pictures, footballs, baseballs, going crazy. Dave, over his shoulder. Like it was like fucking MJ walked out in the MJ documentary. It was like that. Like the doors open. It was like Dave, and fucking splashing and phones. And it was like, dude, he's walking to his like hotel room. It was like at 8:30. Whoa.
Woo! Woo!
Hold on now. Give me a second here. Fuck, that was a little fucking that's the worst little hiccup in my voice I've ever had in my entire life. But yeah, it was fucking crazy. It was one of those moments I was just like, it looked like Richard Jewell. You ever see that movie where it's just every time he walked out of the fucking house, a million people, you know, the Atlanta bomber? Trent, you're looking at me like you never heard of Richard Jewell.
That name did not ring a bell.
Same.
He's the dude. Dude, it's a good movie. He's the dude that they planted the Olympic Atlanta bombings on him. He was a security guard that cleared everyone out, and they're like, he must have done it.
Oh,
and it's a really good movie about him. Like he didn't know how to like say he didn't do it, but he didn't.
I don't think that name strikes a bell for many people until.
Oh, dude, it was a massive movie this year.
That's probably that's probably on me. Yeah, I should probably know that name.
I didn't know the name.
Really?
Huh.
Oh.
Sorry. I wish I did. I could have.
Well, there's a lot of scenes where every time he opens up the door, it's just boop, 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 pictures. I just watched the movie kind of recently. That's why it's in my head. All right, let's move on to something else.
Tiger Woods. So Tiger Woods announced that he had microdiscectomy procedure surgery on his back. It's his 5th back surgery, I believe.
All right, let's move on to something else.
This was announced on what was it? Wednesday? What's today? Today's Wednesday.
It would have been Tuesday.
It was announced Tuesday.
Yeah.
Out of the clouds. I don't know that anybody had heard any whispers of this, anything. I guess it was done shortly after the PNC, so it's been a month or so. Tiger not playing in the Farmers Insurance, not playing at Riviera, a few months recovery time. It, at first it was sort of like, oh shit. And the way that, I mean, Tiger tweeted his own thing. It says Tiger's recently undergone microdiscectomy procedure to remove a pressurized disc fragment that was pinching his nerve. Like, all of that sounds fucking horrible. And when I read that, I'm like, fragment, nerve pinching, like we're back. We're back to 2014 and crawling down or falling down to one knee, two knees, both knees at Liberty National, grabbing your back, never being able to get up, whatever. It sounds like we've got a great notification where Noda came out and said, I just exchanged texts with him a little while ago.
So
and he's doing great. He was out on the course hitting golf balls. He wasn't ripping drivers. He was just getting a feel for the game after the surgery and just seeing how everything is. Rory McIlroy, who's in Abu Dhabi, said Tiger underwent back surgery on December 23rd and was, quote, back on his feet the next day. Added that Tiger should be back for the Masters, if not before. I think he'll be just fine, Rory said. And generally, people that have had this surgery, I've seen a few of them email us or DM us. I can't remember where I read it. Said, hey, I've had this surgery even as a young person, and within 3 or 4 months, you're totally fine, and it's not an issue. So that's sort of where we're at with Tiger. I'm not panicking as much, but it's also not ideal.
Whenever I picture Noda delivering a notification, a glowing review that Tiger's going to be fine, it's going to be okay, I picture – you know, when a magician cuts somebody in half and they just separate the boxes, like it would be the worst possible scenario. And Noda's going to be like, yeah, he'll be back in a couple months. He'll be easily back by the Masters, no problem. My initial reaction to this, I don't know if this will surprise people or not, but like, I wasn't that worried about it. Like, this is just, or I was not worried. I wasn't surprised. This is the ride we're on now with Tiger, where, like you said, Riggs, this was the 5th back surgery. If this was the 1st or 2nd, then you're like, oh, fuck. Like, this could all just be over now. But, you know, if you've been riding along with him for this long, you're on the 5th back surgery. It's not great news. It's never good news to have surgery. But we're talking about Tiger Woods. He's had a bunch of these. I think he's going to be fine. It sounds like he's going to be fine. And we just have to wait and see. Like, I'm certainly not, like, hitting the red button and there's alarms going off. Like, this is just part of being a Tiger Woods fan in 2021.
Yeah, Tiger goes to the back surgeon like a guy goes to the chiropractor. It's just something that he's got to do with maintenance. It's alignment. It's feeling good. What I don't like is when I think of Tiger Woods, and it's been like this for a little bit, when we always see him walking gingerly or whatever, it feels as though his spine is like, and I just watched Jurassic Park for the first time in a long time, like actually sitting down watching the original Jurassic Park, and like it just feels like it's one of those fossils that they find with the brushes. Like, his spine is just one of those very, very weak. At any moment it can just disperse into a million little pieces, and then those million pieces just go into his like nerves, and it's like you just have to be so. I've often said that I think he learned how to walk a different way. When we've been around him at the US Open and the PGA and all these places, it looks as though he's relearned how to walk. He does this like gliding walk where he doesn't move his back, and then like he goes to pick up the ball. So like that's just like, oh fuck.
Dude, what is going on, my man?
Oh no.
Oh man.
I just can't I can't shake this thing. It just feels as though this is the life we're living, like you said, Trent, and we just got to roll with it. Yeah, it's scary thinking that he's got a what am I thinking of, a pharaoh, like a mummy. What do they do to the mummies? They like, what's that called?
I mean, they're mummified.
Mummify. Okay, isn't there a word for like what?
Preserved?
Okay, no, maybe not. But I'm thinking of like his back is just like you would lift up a pharaoh's casket, and that's what you would find in Tiger's spine. Is that type? Okay, yeah, something like that. It's just we got to roll with the punches, man. And Tiger's not giving up on us. People are like, this could be it. I got text messages from friends being like, "Fuck, man, that's it for Tiger Woods." Like, we've seen the last of him. I'm like, bro, it's fucking. They're going in there with the fucking fossil little brush, and they're just fucking cleaning shit up. That's fine.
I do think that the Tiger haters they're just firing every time and hoping that one time they're right. Like, they're just, anytime something that they're just like, Tiger's done, and they know that they've gotten old takes exposed a bunch of times, but one day they're going to be right. So they just keep firing.
Those people are sad. They're sad.
Yeah, when he's 50 years old and has 20 majors, they're gonna be like, he's done.
Yeah, those people were losers. So overall, it sucks we're not going to get to watch him play because that's what we live for, watching him play in the next couple of weeks. But also, like if Tiger won at Torrey Pines, that wouldn't really do that much for us. Like, yeah, that'd be cool, sweet. We'd be jacked up, but like he's won at Torrey Pines 8,000 times. So right now we're on to like majors. So really, if he won at Torrey Pines, you know what that would get us excited for? The Masters. So as long as he can still play in the Masters and be healthy, that's really all we're looking for. Like, yeah, another win would get him to 83, but like Sam Snead's wins, we already discredited like 20 of them. So whatever. So overall, it's really not that big of a deal. It would just be nice to watch him play the next few weeks.
I will say my heart, because I have Tiger notifications.
You said I do. You said I do. Will say there.
Who did?
You did. You said I do. Will say.
Oh, did I really?
Yeah. I just want to let you know.
At least my voice hasn't cracked twice. When I get Twitter notifications from Tiger, he's like the only one. And whenever I see that one pop up, usually it's a TGR thing. It's a charity tweet. But then that one is basically his version of a notes app. And I was looking at it and I was like, boy, do I not want to open this, because it's not going to be, I feel 100% and I'm going to dominate golf this year. It's, I had a procedure and you're not going to see me till the Masters. So that was the one part that I did not enjoy. The going from my phone into my Twitter app before I knew exactly what was going on. Those are tough moments.
At some point, it's going to start like, after consulting my doctors and family, I regret to inform you and my fans that, and you're just going to take your phone and you're going to throw it out the window, and you're not going to care until the phone starts ringing. Like someone finds another phone to call you at, like a house phone or something. I'm going to sit in a fucking dark room until they find a way to get to me. I will not read that notification. I won't. It's going to come at some point. It will.
I know.
And it will come in the form of a note. He won't be like a video, because that's his thing. That's his trademark, is sending out those fucking nicely bordered with his logo on top, the correct font. It's like so nicely well done. It's so like meticulous.
When you do have someone's Twitter notifications on, you don't, like you're saying, like you don't get the full thing.
Right.
You know, you get like, you see a little blurb of it. And I used to have Dave Portnoy. I don't anymore. It's been years, but I used to have Dave Portnoy, and occasionally it would say Riggs or like at Riggs Barstool or something. But you couldn't see the whole thing. And that fucking transition from like that notification to opening up the full tweet to seeing what the hell could he possibly be saying about me on his Twitter account with millions of followers. That was a tough 5 seconds or whatever it was every time.
No worse feeling than when I'm driving with Dave, going to a pizza view or something, and we're having talks. We're talking about whatever sports, like a video we watch, and I say something, right? Like we're in the car sometimes 5-6 hours. I'm gonna say something stupid at some point, and he'll like, you guys know Dave. He doesn't let you off the hook. Like if you say something like, "Oh yeah, I think that place actually holds like 18,000 people or something, like that stadium." Like, yeah, it's fucking crazy. And he'll be like, "I don't think that's even possible." And like you're like, "Oh yeah, maybe it's like 19 or 20." And he like looks it up. He'll just sit there and he'll be like, "I just tweeted about you," and like laugh. And you're that moment of driving a car and be like, "Oh, like what? Like why?" And like you're sitting next to him, be like, "What does it say?" Like I don't want to text and drive, but like, what does that say, Dave? Like, what did you say about me? That's happened to me multiple times. He goes, "Oh man, people are going nuts about this one." I'm like, just stop.
Right. I will say that scenario that Riggs laid out is 100 million, potentially billion times worse than any Tiger notification you can get as a Barstool employee. Because you're just like, oh boy, this is going to be ugly.
It sucks. It fucking sucks. So I don't have those notifications anymore, luckily. But
Riggs has been on the other side of a lot of those.
Yeah.
Like brutal ones where you're like out at a golf event or golfing like somewhere, and Dave's just like, "Where is Riggs?" And that's just not a good. Like those are like the old boondoggle days before people realized this could like actually be like a business and like an actual thing. Riggs used to get fucking crushed by Dave. It was like every day. Like literally every day.
There was no imaginable scenario where he could be talking about me on Twitter and it could be good. Like not one in the whole world. So every time it was just like, fuck, like what am I? And usually I knew I was guilty. So it was like, oh shit, like this is it's for something that I'm doing or have done in the last week. That's just not, he's not going to be happy about.
I remember when we were all sitting at lunch and at fucking Pinehurst, and we were there for what, the travel series?
Yeah.
It was my first time really leaving Dave, like, ever. And we went down there for like 5 or 6 days, Pinehurst series, travel series. And we're sitting down eating lunch after playing what, like Pinehurst number 2. And fucking Dave just, what did he call me? No, he texted me and he goes, "What are you guys doing down there?" And I was like, you know what, fellas, this has been fun. I know this is a good podcast, but I'm getting on a plane right now. And I'm going to get there before he needs another response. I'm going to fucking fly to New York and answer this question. I'm going to let him know.
They had just put a meatball sub in front of me.
Yes.
A delicious looking meatball sub in front of me. And as soon as I was about to pick it up, Frankie goes, "Oh no." And you explained what the text was, and I did not touch that meatball sub. I just completely lost my appetite.
He didn't eat. And it turns out that they were on the rundown at the time, and he was just doing his classics, like, what do they actually do? Like Office Space. Like, what would you say you do here anyway? Just finding out what we're doing down there. It was very, very, very nerve-wracking.
Yeah, it sucks. So luckily I don't have those notifications anymore. We've reached, well, I'd never say we've reached, but we have reached a certain level where we don't have to be as worrisome about that. We actually have created a business. So we're very fortunate in that, but boy, did those days fucking suck at times.
I have a question. Who had the alarm going off in the last couple podcasts that we've gotten tweeted about nonstop?
Dude, I'm very confused about this because I saw at least multiple messages on Twitter and on Instagram about the same thing. But then one of the guys, because I responded and was like, because obviously we don't want any audio fucking issues. I responded and was like, you know, like, when did you hear what? And he's like, you know what? I think it was mine. And I was like,
what?
I was like, wait,
No.
Are you sure? And he's like, dude, it was driving me crazy, but it was mine. Mine needed batteries. So now I'm all confused.
No, if you go back and if you would watch the tape on the last podcast, I think there's 2 times where I hear it and I start looking around like this, but I only heard it twice and then I thought it went away. But the tweets at the beginning would say that it happened 40 to 50 times.
I mean, I was in the office without headphones or anything, so it could have been something in the office. But like, if it's a consistent ding or beep, then it couldn't have been. It had to be one of you guys. I'm considering it was Trent.
I've been trying to listen for it, and because of all those tweets, I've been like, well, there's got to be a beep somewhere, so maybe it's in my place. And I haven't heard a thing, but I don't know.
I haven't.
Fire alarm beep is so triggering.
Well, unless you fixed it, like, it would just continue, like you'd hear it now, right?
Right.
Like, it shouldn't go off. Like,
unless
it should beep to let you know it's a low battery.
Unless someone had like a fire going on and now no longer have a fire.
I do want to apologize for that. I don't think it's mine because I don't hear it now and I haven't heard it all day. But that had to be so bad, just waiting for the next beep when you're listening to that podcast.
Beep.
Hear it twice, and at that point you're like, well, now I think I'm starting to hear a fire alarm going off, and then you keep hearing it, and then you're just waiting for the next one. That would have drove me insane. So whoever it was, I don't know who it was. Apologize.
Yeah, I do apologize, unless it was yours at home and you didn't realize it and then blamed us. So if that was the case, I take back my apology and you can go, that's on you.
For that to be the case, there would have had to be about 20 people's alarms going off.
It's a low battery day.
During specifically the last podcast.
That time of year, Trent, people's batteries and their fucking smoke alarms are just going down. Okay. Most guys have tried different ways to last longer, which we've talked about before. Thinking about maybe smoke detectors, fire alarms, my golf swing, whatever the hell you want to come up with. It's not going to work the way that you want it to work. Roman, that's how it works. The folks at Roman, an online men's health company, are changing the game with Roman swipes, the secret to longer lasting sex. Roman swipes are a clinically proven way to last longer in bed. They are effective. They are easy to use. They are fast acting, and they do not require a prescription. They're very easy to use. You just take the swipes out of the packet, you swipe them on, you let it dry, and you are good to go. You can go to getroman.com/Fore to get your first month of swipes for just $5 when you choose a monthly plan. That's GetRoman.com/4. You get your first month of swipes for just $5. GetRoman.com/4. All right. Next up, we're finally going to get to it. We're going to get to Armen Keteyian. He's a very, smart, accomplished individual. He's hot right now because of the Tiger documentary. So enjoy this interview with Armen Keteyian. Okay, folks, we're joined by a very special guest for the second time on the show, although it's been a few years. We have the co-author of the book that gets discussed on this show a lot, Tiger Woods' biography. It's Mr. Armen Keteyian, who wrote that book with Jeff Benedict. We talk about this book a lot. I have it right here.
Look at you. I got it right down here. I'll pull mine up. I don't know if it's sitting on my trash can, but there it is.
This is making Trent and I look bad.
Armen Keteyian, I was looking, doing a little research. You have 11 Emmys, is that correct?
Yeah, I'd show them to you. They're up here somewhere, right on my shelf.
I'm surprised that, because if most people who have Emmys, they do the background thing where they these are all of my Emmys. I'm surprised.
Yeah, I don't do that.
It has become, in the world of virtual, Zooming with everyone, I feel like people's background is their social brag or their professional brag.
My office is weird. I could show it to you. I've got over here, if I can do it, you can see those are all the books up there, sort of there. Yeah. And then let me take you, I can take you up there somehow. I probably can't. But up that way are all the Emmys. I just like to impress people when they walk in the office.
Oh yeah.
And then I don't have to impress them after that. So it's
get it out of the way.
It's a nice, I have the books are here. There's some 60 Minutes stuff, but I have a lot of books in my office, and I'm obviously I'm a huge reader. And but you're right. I think it's become kind of a you need to have an interior decorator, come in and do your wall so you can. And everybody wants the Power Broker, right? The Robert Moses book, and I've got it over there. Somehow it should be right here, right behind me.
You're doing well. I think it looks pretty good.
That's actually not a bad business idea. Just to have, you could even have fake backgrounds that you could sell to people. That they would be like, oh, that's an esteemed, smart, deep guy.
Exactly. You can fake people out to no end. You just, and maybe that's what you call the company, fake people out. You just do that, and you put big green screens behind, and then you can put all the books and glamorous photos of models that you dated and stuff like that. That's just
you shaking hands with presidents, all that stuff.
Exactly. I have somewhere up there. I've got an honorable degree, a doctorate from Quinnipiac University, and I could have brought that right here and really impressed you guys. So
wow.
I wouldn't dare show you my
call me Dr. Keteyian. That's all right.
Yeah, we will. We'll call you Dr. Keteyian. There's no problem.
In my own brand.
So obviously the documentary came out, the 2-part Tiger documentary on HBO. We're going to get to that. We actually, I don't know if you know this, but we bring you up on this show a lot because there was a phenomenon of when the book came out a few years ago. We talked about it obviously a lot. We had you on the show. It went very well. People were intrigued. So after we discussed it and did a review, we had so many people message us and say, hey, you guys keep talking about this Tiger Woods biography. What's the name of that book?
Was it too complicated for you guys that it was Tiger Woods? Did we strain the brain? What the hell?
We ended up turning it into a little buffet of bits here, where every time we would bring it up, we do a whole do I know the name of that fucking book? And then we'd be like, by Armen Keteyian. So in that manner, we actually bring you up a lot.
Oh, well, that's good to know I'm a butt of a joke. So it's good.
No, we're making fun of the people that couldn't figure out the name.
Can you imagine? Somebody actually asked about the doc. It was on one of your threads, and everybody was talking about it, and they go, yeah, what's the name of that doc? What doc are you talking about? And I'm like, you got to be kidding me, right? You can't be that stupid. But evidently
they're out there.
Yeah, they're out there.
So again, we do bring you up a lot. It's always in fun light.
That's okay.
Now you're back. You were you're an executive producer on the documentary based on the book, the biography that you guys did. Curious, we'll start with just the initial reaction, and I'll preface it with when it was bizarre because those who saw the pre-screening of the documentary a few of them from Golf Digest. I believe it was Joel Beal, Daniel Rappaport came out, and they were pretty negative right away. And curious, as someone who clearly, is as close to this as you could possibly be, what were your thoughts on the initial reaction?
Well, the initial reaction when it came out, when it was Golf Digest, I mean, let's be honest here. That's not the most unbiased group of people in the world. Discovery Golf owns Golf Digest. Tiger has his own exclusive deal with Golf Digest and with Discovery Golf, which puts you, if you're in Golf Digest shoes, in a rather, I would say, uncomfortable position if you're going to be reviewing a documentary, an unauthorized documentary of Tiger's life. So I took that one with a grain of salt. I realized that, that's a really tough position to be in because, as you guys well know, Riggs, especially you, you don't want to get on the wrong side of Team Tiger and get excommunicated from the Church of Woods, because there's really no coming back from that kind of mistake. So I understood that. I was particularly disturbed by one review that Riggs, you kind of caught on to, where I don't remember who it was. I think it was a woman who said that we had attacked. It was an attack on Tiger, and honestly, it's anything but an attack on Tiger. I mean, is it fair? Is it tough in spots? Absolutely. Is it revealing? Is it intimate? Is it in depth? Is it humanizing? Do you empathize with him in the end? I think all of those things work, and those words are fair. Attack, I felt like, was a complete cheap shot into what we were trying to do, and more importantly, what the directors were trying to do. There were a lot of places they could have gone, and then going back to what Mark Steinberg said in his statement, that it was salacious. Was it unauthorized, which is one of the things he said? Yes. Was it an incomplete portrait? Yes. We didn't do 10 hours on Tiger Woods. It's 3 hours and 15 minutes. So there's going to be areas that we didn't get into. The directors, those were their decisions, not my decision and not Jeff's decision. But I found the word salacious to be completely unfair, because it's anything but salacious. You have to, if you're telling the story of Tiger's life, and when you do the rise, and particularly when you do the epic fall from grace, well, I'm sorry, if you're any kind of journalist, you have to at least allow the viewer to experience what we all experienced during that period of time after November 2009. So, but overall, and I've seen the better part of 100 reviews, I would say 90% of them plus have been very positive. And look, we're all big boys here. Everybody's got an opinion. I respect most of them. I just found sometimes where there were some cheap shots taken for reasons that really didn't relate maybe to the film itself, but maybe to other people's agendas in terms of what they were trying to accomplish.
So there's a lot to unpack. A lot of it is sort of going to go the direction that I thought it was going to go. Especially in the sense of your involvement, what it takes to actually produce a documentary, working with, I mean, if you just look at the credits, how many different people you have to work with versus writing a book with pretty much just one other person where you have a lot more control. Our initial reaction, there's a couple of things I want to say. One, we're not journalists, so we can say whatever the hell we want, which is great. And we
that
can
is a
be
luxury.
We can be very clear about, like, no, we love Tiger Woods. And there's a certain element of us that I want to live in a bubble where I just think Tiger Woods is the greatest. I'm not a fan of Tiger Woods because he tips well, or he comes off as a real salt of the earth kind of guy. That's the reason why I'm a big fan of a Kevin Kisner or of a Max Homa. I'm a big fan of a Tiger Woods because, when he puts on that red shirt, he becomes a fucking machine that destroys people. That's why I like Tiger Woods. That's what I want. That's what I want.
And that's perfectly your prerogative.
Right. And so on that level, like we're going to play that up because a lot of fans are like us and we just simply can't help it. That's why we love Tiger Woods. My initial reaction was very clearly like, well, if this is going to be an attack on Tiger Woods, I'm just not going to watch it. I'm not going to endorse it. Like you just mentioned, once a lot more folks came out, and it is a very important tidbit that Golf Digest, owned by Discovery, they have media and access literally contracts with Tiger Woods. So it's very understandable that those would come out from them. Once I started to see, like, I know Lurch, Frankie saw it. They said, no, we think it's pretty damn good. A lot of people started messaging me. And the beauty of it is also that I can just change my mind. Like, we're not beholden to
anything. Can I say something to you? Because when I saw what you put on Twitter, I was pissed off. I was like, God damn it, Riggs, watch it yourself. When you were on that boycott HBO wagon, I was like, you know what? You got a lot of people that respect you and follow you. And I thought, you're better than this in terms of, and I don't mean to sound like your father here because I'm not, but you're better than this in terms of the responsibilities that you have in the position that you're in, because people are looking to you for information and confirmation on certain things. And so when you said what you said, I almost went off on you on Twitter, and I thought, no, I'm not going down that path, because I know it's coming back the other way, and I don't want to fucking deal with it. You know what I mean? It's just like, no, thank you times two. But when I read, you said, I watched it, and that's when you and I started to talk a little bit. I was like, you know what? Good for him. At least he's watching it. Then he can make up his own mind. I don't really care. If you said to me, Armen, you know what? I didn't like it. I didn't get it. I didn't think it was fair, blah, blah, blah. At least you watched it. And then I feel like at that point in time, we're on the same page. But I literally texted Matt Hamachek, the director, and Jeff Benedict, my writing partner. I'm like, I'm so ready to say something that's going to cause me problems. But I was like, I'm not necessarily, Jeff and I are like fire and ice. Jeff would be the one that would always say, oh, no, you don't want to say that. I don't think we want to say that in the book. And I would be like, well, maybe we do. And so I just pulled myself back and I didn't say anything. And I'm glad I didn't, because I was really, look, you got a lot of people that follow you guys. You've got a big thing going here. And and again, I don't want to sound like I'm lecturing you, because I'm not, but there's responsibility with that. And that's all I cared about, was like, make up your own mind and then tell people what you think. Don't follow some Yahoo that says, they didn't like it because it was an attack. And that's what pissed me off. I was like, well, fuck, if you didn't like it because, we didn't have enough golf in it, then that's a discussion that we can have. But to call it an attack, I was like, wait a second, that's just not fair to us.
And I agree. I like, my takeaway after watching both parts was that the issues I had with it, I would imagine and guess, and I think it's turning out to be true, were the same issues that you had with it, which are that, like the Last Dance, which everyone's going to compare it to, was around 9 hours total. You guys had a third of that. And so, one of my main questions is going to be, I'm sure that you pushed back, and that if you could have it, you would want it to be longer.
Well, I wanted to
boil down a several 100-page book into 3 hours.
Well, it's a 400-page book, and Matt and I, Hamachek and I, talked a lot about it. You have to make really difficult decisions. Our book was the roadmap in many ways. So I always thought about it. If you're headed in a direction, where do you get off on the exit ramp? How long do you stay on that area that you're there? And then how quickly do you get back on the ramp, and where do you go from there? And those decisions in part one and part two are really difficult decisions. Obviously, it's a father-son story. That's the real pathos and the driving force in both parts. But okay, how long do you spend in Vegas? How long do you spend with Dina Parr? How long do you spend with Joe Groman? How long do you spend? And I was, look, when he won the Tour Championship, to me, that scene you see in the doc is like ridiculous. It's like the British Open when he was. I forget where he was. I think he was at St. Andrews, where they just broke through the barriers, and it was like Moses, in the Red Sea. That's what it looked like at the Tour Championship. Would I wanted more there? Yes. Would I liked a little more of the Masters moment where everybody was kind of crumbling there in the end, to have a little more drama? That yes. Would there have been other things? But those weren't my choices. And I think in the end, you have to respect the fact that this is Alex Gibney, who won an Oscar as a film director, documentary film director, and then one guy, Matt Heineman, who won an Emmy for cartel, and Hamachek, who was nominated for Amanda Knox. They know what they're doing, and the people around them know what they're doing. And Bentley Weiner from HBO, who was really the contact person, is a terrific producer, documentary film producer at long form at HBO. So, in the end, it's their, they took the rights to the book. It's their film. And I'm overall, I couldn't have been happier, really, honestly.
And obviously you seem like a fiery guy, and you've got your emotion, your thoughts are kind of well informed. Was there any path that you really wanted them to go down, which you voiced your opinion on and they didn't for whatever reason? Obviously it's their decision, but did you go down that road with them at all?
I didn't, Ben, I didn't really have a path. I was more about just the tone in terms of when they were in these places, their treatment of Rachel, for example, because it's an interesting story. Rachel wasn't part of the book. We tried and she declined to be interviewed. But when the New York Times came out with a review of the book, which honest to God, I couldn't have written it better myself. And it's on the cover, it says, there is beauty and awe in this perfectly pitched biography. If I was going to write that, I would say, thank you very much. But Rachel was in the islands, and she was online, and she read the review, and she texted Jeff, and she said, I need to talk to you right now. And Jeff called her, they spoke, and then that opened the door for us to make an introduction to Alex Gibney in New York. We were all together. I met Rachel for the first time, and that began a relationship between Alex and Jigsaw Productions, and then eventually really Matt Hamachek and Jenna Millman, one of the producers, and Rachel, to convince her to sit. And this was the time and the place and the opportunity to talk for the first time in 10 years. And she was in the chair, I think, for 8 hours. I was astonished when they told me that. And honestly, for me, that, Ben, like you're saying, I'm getting to the point. I sometimes take a while to get there, but
Storytelling.
The point being is, I really want, and I know there are women out there who feel like Rachel was and Rachel herself said it, she was the mistress, the whore, she broke up the marriage, but she had a story to tell. And I felt like it was a really important story to tell because I knew enough about her relationship with Tiger to feel that she deserved the opportunity to tell it on her own terms. And so that, like, those kinds of moments we would talk about is like, how important is Rachel? How important was that Dina Parr moment with the letter when she's reading it, even though, it was in our book and people kind of were well aware of it, but when she's there, the power of video and the power of film, when she's reading it, you can't take your eyes off, and when Joe Groman, for example, is talking about, the Winnebago and Earl's, infidelities, and he's just torn up inside in terms of how far he wants to go. That doesn't come across in a book. That comes across with the power of television. And so I was looking for those moments. That's what 60 Minutes is built on. We just called them moments. They just one after another, after another, after another in the storytelling. And that's what I think you get here is you stack these moments on top of each other and they tell you a story, but a lot of people that aren't very good at storytelling just stack them and they don't really know what they're trying to say. Here, I think, as you saw in the end, that Earl moment in the beginning at the Haskins dinner, and Earl kind of talking from the grave at the end, and that hug with Charlie and the hug with Earl at the Masters in '97. That's really powerful, and it tells you something about father and son. So, I didn't stick my nose too far into the creative side. I was really more of a sounding board, and Jeff was a sounding board to say, I think you can't ignore this, rather than you have to do this, I think, in those terms.
With Rachel, there's a very powerful, almost humanizing story she tells of how she hasn't talked to Tiger after a lot of the stuff has broken. The news has gone crazy. And then he finally speaks to her and he says, my lawyers are going to call you, get as much as you can.
Yeah.
that obviously implies in all of the rumors or reports or whatever have been that there's a big confidentiality agreement. How does that work in terms of her sitting down with you guys?
Good question. I don't even know if they, you know, those are above my pay grade in terms of the legalities of things like that. I don't know. I don't want to say much about that because I don't know enough to be confident. Obviously, there's been reports, you know, of an NDA. You know, Gloria Allred was involved in the negotiations of it. I thought it was an incredibly powerful moment when she said what she said is get as much money from me as you can. Was that Tiger's way of saying, I love you? Was that Tiger's way of saying, I'm sorry? Either way, you know, he's such a complicated guy. And I think the art here was trying to, as we were talking about when the book came out, you know, who is this guy? You see him, Riggs, you see him a lot. I mean, you're there a lot. You see him in situations that I haven't seen him in. I've seen him more human. I've seen him more engaging. I've seen him more accommodating to fans in recent years, which I found to be a really, it's just so gratifying in so many ways because, you know, you can't help be awed by his talent. I mean, I've never seen anybody, I still watch some of his highlights. I mean, that shot at Firestone in 2000 in the dark, you know, and the people are holding up their lighters and stuff, and he can't even see the pin. Or that shot out of the Canadian Open, out of that sand trap, like what was it, 216, water, you know, dead water in front of him, trees right, and he just stuffs it. I'm like, nobody does that. I mean, there's just not a person on the planet that does stuff. So you know, people think that, you know, people thought we were out to get him. Some people thought, oh, you know, you were out to get him. If I was out to get Tiger Woods, I wouldn't have spent 3 years of my life. I would have spent 6 months of my life writing a shitty book that had a lot of salacious stuff in it, hoping that it would sell. This book has stood the test of time. It's still selling. It's selling more now than it's almost ever has since, because of the doc. And, you know, when you invest the kind of time that we did, that's the benefit of it. The immersive kind of biography, immersive kind of biography, you know, you just hope it hits. And when it does, you know, at this point in my life, that's as, you know, I can't be any more grateful than what's going on right now. Other than this, I mean, this is like the best ever.
You're welcome. I mean, you're glad that you're able to experience such.
Does Trent talk? I don't know. Is Trent talk?
No, I do. I'm just listening. It's just very interesting, the whole thing.
I'm curious if you think, right? I mean, you spent years now studying Tiger Woods. Studying Tiger Woods. You guys list at the beginning of the book, which the book is fantastic. It's a must read. You spend, you know, you talk about the hundreds of hours of footage that you watched, the transcripts that you guys went over, every interview. You read books on, you know, the psychology, on all sorts of things. So you did
sex addiction. Let's not forget that.
As thorough of a job, and I'm not gonna. That's all hearsay, but it's you know, the amount and the thoroughness, you know, that you guys brought to this. You know the Tiger Woods story as well as anybody. I'm curious if you think Tiger Woods had much of a choice to end up differently or to have taken a different path than the one that he took.
He had very little choice, and I think it proves time and time again. I mean, Maureen Decker, you know, the kindergarten teacher, when she suggests that Tiger wants to, you know, play on a team sport with soccer, and Earl making it clear that just wasn't in the cards. You know, Tiger liked to say that he played team sports. I went back and looked at every picture from junior high to high school. If there was any photo of Tiger Woods on a team, even photos that we could find in a recreational league, and you just can't find them. If they exist, if that part of his life exists, I never saw it. So you look at that, and then you look at, you know, between Tita and Earl, and what Earl was talking about early on about Tiger was going to be the chosen one, and Gandhi and Buddha and Nelson Mandela. I don't think he had a choice at all. But I think in a weird way, Tiger embraced it. You know, you see so many kids who are pushed into things that just crash and burn. Once Tiger got a taste of it from his father, in terms of the beauty of the game of golf, how to shape a shot, how Earl taught him through the Green Beret practices to never say the word enough, you know, that Tiger embraced all of that. And that's where the genius is. That's where these things become, you know, almost mythological in nature, what we witness. He didn't really have a chance, but he in many ways withstood all the pressures, all the other things that were on it. I'm sorry. Let me just, this is one of my partners.
You're
I'm just
a popular guy.
Showcasing that
Yeah, I'm
you're
very
popular and
popular.
needed, right?
But
Important, showcasing the wall.
yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm surprised.
Guys, call me twice during this
system
interview
doesn't
so they think I'm very much
But
needed.
just to put a bow on it is, no, he didn't really have a chance, but he made the most of it. And I always thought, you know, as we talked about, you know, the question that I think the doc tries to answer and we tried, you know, what's the price of genius? And that's what it is. You know, we were all in awe of everything he did, but we weren't him. We didn't carry those burdens. We weren't involved in that extreme fame and fortune. And that one moment where he's out there looking at the crowds going, fuck me, this is like, you know, holy moly, what am I doing here? So the fact that he's still, that to me, after everything that's happened to him, what happened in Memorial Day weekend, 2017, which we all thought maybe was the end, you know, that was the tragic ending that nobody wanted to see or witness in any way, shape or form. For him to come out of that, and I always, you know, to crawl out of that hole and into the light and to accomplish what he accomplished is nothing short of, I mean, I don't even know what the word is. Amazing doesn't even begin to do it justice.
Well, we always talk about on this show, we kick around the question that we would love to ask Tiger, that everyone would love to ask Tiger is, would you change anything from those early years that really formed you into the person that turned you into this superstar, that put you on this trajectory to put you through all these things? And the answer that we always come to, and obviously we can't answer, only one guy on the planet can, is probably no. And a big part of that is probably that he doesn't know anything else, but also it has put him on this incredible journey.
Yeah, I think you're right. That's a really good question. And I wish one time in one press conference, somebody would have the courage to stand up and say, Tiger, given everything you've been through, all the good and all the bad and all the, you know, the wins and all the triumphs and the tragedy and everything, would you change anything in your life? Would you have taken a different path if you had the opportunity? I would. I mean, I know he's working on a book himself right now. And I hope he goes in those places because I think it'll be fascinating to understand. And if I'm not going to say who I think the co-author is because I'm not 100% sure, but if it's the guy that I think it is, he may well take Tiger in that direction.
You can spread rumors on this show if you want. Throw rumor.
Yeah. Well, okay. I mean, I don't think I'm talking out of school. I think it's J.R. Mohringer who did Andre Agassi's Open and who was Phil Knight's Muse and Shoe Dog.
Great book.
I believe
read
that's
book.
the case. And if that's JR, you know, he's as good as it gets in those kinds of situations. And will he go along? Will Tiger follow him into some of the places that I'm sure JR wants to take him? If he does, it'll be fascinating because no one's been able to get inside Tiger's head that way. And I read Lauren Rubenstein's book, you know, on the 20th anniversary of the Masters Triumph, which came out, I think, in 2017. And I thought Tiger went places that he had never gone before in that book. And that helped Jeff and I because when we were writing, it's like, oh, we thought it was more like this. And Tiger brought us back to over here, which I thought was, you know, I was very grateful for in terms of not getting something really wrong or off in terms of what he was thinking at a certain point in time.
Yeah, it's
talk about. Oh, sorry.
I just, you know, I remember my main takeaway, and a lot of people who read the book, when we read the book, was I felt sympathetic and empathetic towards Tiger Woods, which was amazing if you look at it, you know, in a general sense, in that here's this billionaire who has had as much success as a human being by almost all measurable standards could have, who was this icon, who was a machine, who was just destroyed people in the competitive realm in every chance that he could. Yet you feel a little bit sorry for him. You feel a little bit sympathetic towards him. And I remember, coming out of reading the book and being stunned that I was even more a fan of Tiger and rooting for him to succeed, not in a overall legacy and it's going to be such a cool media craze kind of reasoning, but for him, like, when he came back and he won at Eastlake, which I thought you guys should have covered more in the documentary, he very much, like, when his lip was quivering at the end, it was like, that's a person in there that is genuinely happy that he did it and overcame and returned and he did a comeback. Like, that is a human being right there. Whereas when he won at Medina in 06, the PGA, like, even the commentators are talking about how he seems like he doesn't have a single human emotion. He takes off his hat, on to the next one, let's go. Whereas even when he just wins,
when he won Pebble, by 15,
and it's
they talk about a machine, but you just used the three words and the two most important. You're not as dumb as sometimes people say you are. That's
you said Trent asked a good question earlier too, so we're on a roll right now.
But empathy and sympathy, that's what I felt at the end of the book and the journey that we took with him over 3 years. And when I saw him I didn't know what I was going to see. I went to Farmers 2019 in San Diego because we didn't have an ending of the book. And I'm like, God, I don't know what this guy is. I don't know where he is right now. And I saw him out there, and you might remember he made the cut. And he made a big putt on Friday to hit the cut line. And then he played well over the weekend, and he was just a different person in terms of his interactions with the media, the fans, in little moments that when I was looking at him, he did things like reaching down and doing an autograph to somebody he would have blown off before. I was like, oh my God. So, and he was healthy when I was like, oh, this could be interesting. And so that empathy and that sympathy, I think, are the two biggest words that you walk away with. Sorry. Yes, I think sorry is another word because you know what he went through and you feel sorry for him in certain ways. And now the other word that I think really I've come back to, and I think the doc does it, it humanizes Tiger. And there's a reason that, Pete McDaniel is the last voice in that doc. And because, it's easy to use the other R word, the rise, the fall, the return. You can go to redemption. And redemption is a moralizing kind of, we're up here, you're down here. Oh, you've been redeemed now in the public eye. And in the end, it was a very conscious decision. And it was late in the doc where we made that decision. It wasn't me so much as, it wasn't me, it was Matt Hamachek and Heineman, and I think Alex Gibney, but I was all in favor of it, is to allow the human element to really be the last thing that you hear. And that's, other than Earl's voice, it's Pete saying, he's like all of us. He's got frailties. He's a human being. And I think we just forget about that sometimes because he was such a machine. But those wires have a tendency to cross over time, and that's how you end up maybe hitting a fire hydrant at Thanksgiving night, in the middle of the night. But I think that idea that this guy who's shown very little humanity at times in his life is now viewed, I think, now with more empathy and sympathy than ever. And I think that's so deserving because in my mind, and I may be Pollyannish about it, I think he is. And God bless him, at this point. I mean, Jesus, he's lived 3 lives, how about the next 45 years being something he can really enjoy?
I know, right?
Yeah.
It almost reminds me of like the Hunger Games where it's like, here's this person and these people in this arena, and the everyone else though, and what you don't see is everyone else is deciding what they wear, what the theme of that person's going to be, how they're going to get there, what they're supposed to say, when they're going to eat. And in reality, it's like what actually happens in that arena, the main things that all of those other players, the bigger pieces like couldn't control is actually what we love about the person, right? Like Tiger Woods, you could construct as much of a golf machine as you want, but you can't make him out there fist bumping, chasing balls into holes, fist pumping left and right. He gets a hole in one at the 16th hole at Waste Management. You can't make that up. He holes out on 16 in Augusta, to win that Masters with the ball hanging on the lip. Like he makes the putt in 08 with a broken leg. Like you can't, no matter how much you may be Earl Woods and Tita and sculpting this guy, he's still somehow in that arena able to show the passion and to have pulled it off for, 2 or 3 decades, to win 3 straight US Amateurs and come back from like 5 down and making these bombs. Like you just can't, on some level, that's him. That's just that human being doing that. And that's so amazing to me.
That aura that he had. I mean, I was talking to JJ Henry's from Connecticut, and I run into him occasionally, around here when he's playing in a tournament and stuff or a charity event. And he goes, when he walked in the locker room, I mean, it was shape shifting, in terms of, it's like the air changed, there was like, oh my God, Tiger's here, and he didn't talk to anybody because that just wasn't his MO, right? Right. I'm going to crush you and I'm not going to be your friend. And that, we were talking about, and that was kind of the big thing in the doc, the fuck you do. It's like the whole idea that I can't wait to get into, a major on Sunday on the back nine, particularly the Masters, where you have that amphitheater setting. And I thought was one of the coolest things in the doc was when he hit that shot at 16, that was crawling its way to the pin, and Finau, and I think it was Koepka on the other tee, were on their tippy toes looking over going, oh, for God's sake, here he goes again, And I think that aura, that isn't some cartoon character that was created by his father. That's Tiger's, yes, that DNA, part of that DNA is Earl, but that is a alchemy of something that comes around in our lives once in a generation. A Michael Jordan, and I put the Tom Brady's, and I was lucky enough to be around Peyton Manning. Those guys are just different. They don't want to be the best of their generation. They want to be the best of all time. And they're willing to put in the time and all the pain that goes along with that. And there just aren't that many athletes that they like to talk about it. Oh, I want to be the greatest of all time. But to go from here to up there is a long way in commitment.
It is. And it's, it's, again, I think, almost a part of the reason I probably didn't, and I do think everyone should watch the documentary. I think it's very much worth it. But a big part of the reason I didn't get the maximum enjoyment out of it is because I'd already read the book. And it's like, there's a reason that everybody out there says like, oh, the book's better. That's been said 8 million times. But like, you can just be more layered and you can be deeper and you can go, when you have unlimited, the English language is unlimited. You have unlimited pages and you can just tell whatever story you want to tell. And so, that is, again, I think to the average, I called it like the window shopper golf fan who kind of just browses around. I could see it being, very, very informative. The Earl story, a little bit more about who he was as a child and how that formed who he was. Like that stuff makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense perfectly. I mean, look, there's a huge market in golf, but there's a even bigger market in the average person that didn't really know the Tiger Woods story. And there's so many women. There's a lot of really powerful women in this doc. And Tiger's story, you can tell Tiger's life through women. And you can start with his mom. You can go to Dina. You can go to the women that he was having as he got to Vegas and he was experiencing women as Tiger Woods for the first time. You certainly can talk about all the infidelities and Rachel Yucatel and Elin. Other women that like Amber Loria, who was in the doc as a Mark O'Meara's niece, who was very close to Tiger until she got cut out. I always loved the female side of this thing because in many ways, Tiger has been, his life is defined by the women in his life. And certainly with Dina, Rachel, and Elin. So I find that to be a very appealing part of it. But you're right. Look, for the hardcore golfer, the story is sort of known, but to see it in video, I always felt like was something else. And I will tell you this, just if people are just think there's not another turn to the wheel. I just saw a pilot script that is now in its pretty much its final version for a scripted series that it's been announced. So I'm not really giving news away, but I can say I've now read the pilot, and it's a very different take. It has a lot more to do with the father-son and Earl's background, at least in the pilot episode, and it's really powerful. And so I think in that there are things in the book that I wish we could have put in there, like John Merchant, who was incredibly influential in Tiger's life, is an amateur in Connecticut, and John, they interviewed John right before he passed away, and he just didn't make it into the doc. It was one of those decisions. But John in a scripted series is a very, very powerful character to have, because he's the first one that Earl cuts out of Tiger's life when John becomes a threat for Tiger's loyalties and Tiger's trust. So, you can't really make it up. You know what I mean? It's just like it's so rich. And, 3 years was enough of my life. I can tell you that's next time somebody comes around and goes, "Hey, do you want to write a book and take 3 years?" Yeah, I don't think so. No.
I gotta say, if you see that National Enquirer guy, can you slap him in the fucking face?
Yeah.
That guy is just the worst. That guy's, you don't have to comment on it, but that guy is one of the least likable figures I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah, Neil, I interviewed him for the book, and he has his moment. I mean, I don't know if I'd have said what he said, but in the way
you had your moment, you said it earlier, but your line. Yeah. Your line was just knocked me out of my seat.
Well, when you're in a chair for 5 hours and you get kind of a little fired up at times, and you get to the point where you're just like, okay, I'm going to say what I want to say here. And and it was nice of you. I was like, I'm a little more polished than that, in my life. But, if, as my mother said, if the shoe fits, wear it. So I finally decided to put the shoe on the people that, it fit on. And thank God, you had the video to back it up, or, I would have looked like a complete idiot.
No, it was, you nailed it.
I say forget the Emmys, just have that rolling on a loop.
I should have it on a loop on my Twitter feed. I mean, when your kids are sending it to you, Dad, it's on Instagram, and you're a meme, and now this other stuff. And I'm like, oh, shit. I'm just trying to stay out of the limelight.
You could pin the tweet to the top of your tweet, the top of your Twitter feed. So anybody who goes there, that's the first thing they see.
God, I don't think I should do that. That's so funny. I know when I said it, I was like, oh, shoot, I don't know. This is that, because you're looking at the camera and you're like, well, came out of your mouth. And then Hamachek, he sends me the rough cut, and I look at it, and he goes, oh, you got the best line in the doc. And I was like, oh, really? Okay, let me see. And I, not knowing what, and then I went, oh, well, okay, I can see where that comes in.
It's the power of Tiger.
Yeah,
you can't help it.
You know what? It was in it, thank God. And it's honestly, when you think, and you know this better than I do, but Cantlay was there, Schauffele was there, Poulter was there. And I mean, I went through the Masters again just last year, when they were replaying it. I think it was early in 2020, right? They did the whole Sunday thing, and I watched it again, and I'm taking notes, and I'm really just remembering, the collapses that were going on. And you realize Cantlay had a really good chance to win it. Schauffele was there. That putt that Brooks missed, he missed the entire hole. It was like a 6-foot putt. He didn't even hit he didn't even touch the cup. So I can't even imagine what it's like to try to swing a golf club under those circumstances with that crowd and that kind of pressure. And the fact that he hit on 12, he did exactly what he wanted to do. And then honestly, I mean, what was it? 4-foot, 5-foot putt that he had to make for par, which was, a lot of people would have missed that.
Yep.
He just stuffs it. And then 16, he does what he does at 16. So yeah, I mean, it's like, You want to know how good Tiger Woods is? That's how good he is.
Yeah, it was great. I loved when you nailed the line. I'm glad that you've owned it.
It'll be in my obituary, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Or on my page, one of those
two.
It's so, oh God.
Well, look, we appreciate it. I think if we talk about the book a lot, but I'm glad sales are going well right now. It is a must read for any fan, really. Documentaries, biographies are kind of a craze right now for a reason. I think just learning about people, and you guys did you did your due diligence, like you said. You pretty much immersed yourself in the life of Tiger Woods, and it shows. So people should check out the book Tiger Woods. Check out the documentary, 2-part on HBO. It's called Tiger, if you can't figure that out. And Armen Keteyian, we really appreciate the time.
Thanks, guys. Let me just say one last thing. I mean it about the invitation to Brooklyn. If you're ever our way, bring the boys. We'll have a fun day. And, there's a bunch of nutheads up there too. So we'll have a nice afternoon.
We're going to be careful because we're going to take you up on that. We're going to come in like a wrecking ball to your golf course.
I'm a little worried. I just opened my mouth, but you know what? I'll tell all my friends and they would love to have you guys. So anytime, just
we appreciate
it. I think it's July 27th through August 1st when the women are there. But other than that, maybe afterwards, anytime you guys can make it this way, I'd love to have you.
We appreciate it. We're going to cash that in. We'll have a good time, and we'll get you back on the show, I'm sure. So thanks for taking the time.
Boys. All right, man. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Thank you.